Today what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a demonstration on how these brushes are actually tied. This is what we're going to end up with right here. You have a brush that's been twisted, then furled, and then I'm able to tie that onto a hook, remove the back side, and then we can make what we have here, this fly. And it gives a real nice, profile all the way back to the tail, and you can just fix this thing up and it looks just like a nice a nice little minnow. So that's what we're going to do, and let's get this stuff over here and out of the way. Now what we're going to want to do is I'm going to show you how I will spread all this stuff out really nice and even. All right. Okay, so there's that. So what we do is we run, this is just a piece of EVA foam on a chip brush that's been glued to the chip brush. It's an EVA foam. So, and then I've got a small, the smaller the better to me on these brushes. So just go ahead and fan that out, and then what that does is it separates all those materials nice and even right there. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing over here. And then I can spin my tray around and grab it again. And then that's what we end up with, a real nice straight brush that we're going to lay on our table over here in a few minutes. I mean, that just really does a good job of getting these fibers laid down in such a way that you end up with very nice straight fibers. So we'll just let that go and jump back over here. So what I'm going to need to do here is prep my table and my legs and strands. Okay, this would be considered a strand, just one piece of thread. And then you got a strand on this side, it wraps around, a strand on this side. So you've got two strands that run down the middle. And then you bring the thread up, set it on the base, lock it in so it doesn't get loose on you. And then let's go ahead and do it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so you go ahead and make your knot here, just a little loop on the end. That's all you need. Stick that on to your hook. And this machine, it's not something that just anybody's going to be able to make. There's a lot to this machine. Actually, this machine is my tapered furled leader machine. And I got to thinking, well, if it does tapered furled leaders as well as it does, it probably will make a furled brush too if I can figure out how to twist them. And so that's what I did, is I figured out the table, my twists, how I need to get them in there. So here's the back leg that I'm putting on. That is the front leg, and then I come back up to the front here and put it under this locking mechanism here so that all this stays nice and tight. All right. That way I can lay my materials down, and like we did a few minutes ago, all I got to do is come over here and grab the materials that you already saw how we lay them out, and then just flip them over onto the onto your one strand there. All right, that's one strand. This is actually two things. This is the front leg, since it's on the side I'm working on. This is the front leg, and this is the back leg. The back leg does not get any fibers because this one is used after this is twisted. But when you twist this twists at the same time in the exact same direction. And then what happens is when you reverse the motor, you put the back leg, your rear leg, onto the front leg. So I lift this one off and I put it on here, and then I reverse the motor, and then what happens is all this material gets wrapped back on top of itself in a whole new twist that actually weaves all this material together into one one piece. So we'll go ahead and finish this up here. I'm going to pull that off and bring it here, there. And now what we want to do is lock this in place temporarily so that I can get a measurement and tie another loop on it. Now, if you noticed or been paying attention, this loop here is going to go on the same hook as our first loop. Okay, so I got to go ahead and this is a tool that I use to place it on that hook. So I go ahead and release that, and then pull the material, pull this this strand over top of the material, and that kind of locks it in. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right. Now I'll go ahead and trim up the ends here. It doesn't really need to be, but just makes it for a neater spin. Okay. Now it's got a real nice even spread all the way down through there. And what we're going to do here now is we're going to, well, actually what I need to do first is I need to take my tensioning line here, cable, and grab the two legs and raise it up just like that. And then I'll be able to take this, put it under the machine, and now I've got my material. And you can go ahead and, if you have to, just even everything up, and then take your motor and get it going. Okay, I could probably go a little further than that, but that should be okay. You know, what I'm attempting to do here is just to make sure that my materials are ungathered around that around this front leg here. Okay, and the front leg is again created by two strands. You got a lower strand and upper strand. Lower strand material and upper strand that locks everything in, and that's what you end up with. Now this right here is a standard brush. But if you did not make this out of wire, if I cut this here to take it off of the machine, it's going to spin out and all this material is going to fall out on you. Unless maybe you take some super glue or something and put it on there. But what we're going to want to do now is take this leg back here and lift it off of the I want to have the best V groove down through the middle here that I can possibly get, because we're going to take this rear leg off of this rear hook. Just like that. And then we're going to lay this down on top of this hook and slide the line right down on top of the gathered materials right there, all brushed out already. Okay, so we'll go ahead and try and make sure that back leg is as best that we can laying on top of the material, so that when that is reversed, the motor is reversed, we're going to watch this. This is key. Because you want this when it is not furled yet, it's just got two twisted lines on it. To make it furled, you got to have the rear leg and the front leg furl back on top of themselves, just like they did on there by themselves. They spun in the same direction. That just gave you a two twisted strands together. Now to furl it, you need to bring this back leg onto the front leg and then go ahead and spin it again. You're going to bring this back to a point and then as soon as it starts shooting forward, the process as far as the furling goes is done. And now we're going to go ahead and thin this back out again. That's it right there. That gives us a nice separation in there all the way down the middle, although that the brush is right on top. So we'll go ahead and pull this off. And to do that, I just pulled this forward to loosen up the brush, pull it off, and then let this seat back into place, pull it off, and it kind of gives a little spin there. And then as you can see, that made a really nice looking brush right there, just like that. Okay. And what's nice about these brushes is you are not going to pull. You're not going to pull the material out. It's the material is in there and it's locked on top of the fibers we use. In this case, it's BC fibers, or also known as Bonnie cord. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now, one of the things that you can do, or one of the things I do to get the effect of this fly right here, is to get that lateral line, spine, or vertebrae down the middle of your minnow. You need to thin it out on the side. And what's really nice about this brush is it's very evenly distributed all the way around on there. Okay, so now all we need to do is bring our table back up, lay it down. And one of the things that, and I'll just show you here real quick. This is the front end. This is the end that was on the hooks. And so when you run it back, I don't know why it does this, to be honest with you, but when you run it back, it runs back nice and smooth, gives you that real nice brush look there. But if you took it and flipped it to the other side and brushed on it, it takes it and does that. Now you could use that for, palmering this material onto your fly, if that's what you want to do, and that's fine. But I mean, it's going to lock in real nice. But the whole idea of this is to be able to take this material and make yourself a nice body out of it. Get yourself a brush like that, and then what I'll do is I'll lay this down, and I'll take my little, I'm going to try, I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to take my little clamp and hold my material in place so it's nice and straight, and then I'll use that way I can hold it down nice and tight here, just like you see. And I'll take these clippers and I'll go down the center of it, just like that, and gather off all that. If you come over here, you can see that just cut that doming of that fat of the fibers there, and now it's flat. So what we're going to want to do now is unhook this and flip it over. Now the spine kind of disappeared there, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. Is we're going to clamp that into place, pull it not tight, but just enough to where it won't move on you when you run the clippers down. And then just run the clippers down. And then what you have is a nice brush that has that look, and that material is going to stay right where it is. And then you tie this part onto your hook. You would separate this however much you need to. All right, maybe take a pair of scissors and let's do that. Let's go ahead and do that. And just clear out a spot like this. Yeah, these scissors are like junk. Let's see if these are any better. Okay, so we're going to, yeah, those are better. The scissors are everything. Okay, so so now we've got that separation in there. And what we can do is we can clean this up a little bit more if we want to. You gotta be careful not to cut your spine there, your vertebrae. And then what you'll do is you'll take some super glue and hit this with some super glue right in here. That will harden it up. And then after that dries, then you got super glue like this, you know, spread out half inch or so, cut right in the center of it. And then that way, when you go to tie this onto your hook, you end up with that real nice looking minnow shape. And then the other thing you can do is once it's done, you can leave this a high body like this, and it could be like a shad, or you can cut it down like I did the other one and make yourself a shiner minnow. Okay, so that's it on making the brush. And I'm I don't know what to do, quite honestly, because this is not something that everybody's going to be able to make. You tell me if you'd be interested in me making these brushes and having them available for purchase on my Etsy store. Let me know, and I might consider starting to make these brushes where you can just buy the brush and not have to worry about all the mechanics and engineering that goes into building this machine. You can just buy the brushes from me and make your own articulated furled brush fly. Actually, the next video is going to be actually tying one of these up. If I did that, then this video would be twice as long as it is now, and I think it's already long enough as it is. Oh, and consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and give me a comment, especially if you're interested in having these brushes made available. Catch you later.